I got into the Diamond League in Overwatch due to my skills in philosophy. Hey everybody, it's Prince of Queens, and I've been taking a little bit of a break after making my hour-long epic video, Intersectional Feminism is Communist Particle Board. If you haven't watched it, I really think it's probably my best video ever. Certainly the most informative, because I did about a year's worth of specific research and cited a whole bunch of things, included a lot of clips, everything that you need to know to point the trajectory of intersectional feminism back through postmodernism all the way to the United States Communist Party. It is all in that video, and it's very clear, it's very undeniable. So I've been taking a bit of a break, and I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. And here's the thing. Overwatch is actually very important to me, and the reason why is because I value very strongly the collective consciousness, the zeitgeist of where the brightest young minds are communicating and competing. I care about that. I think it's valuable and worth knowing about. So whatever is going on that people are really, really into, I'm going to look at. That's just my nature. And I mean, if I'm really, really busy and everything's going well, then I might be busy with my own thing. But if I go back to the drawing board, I'm probably going to look at, it's like, well, what are the kids into? What are they really into? And it turns out that kids are into video games currently. And in particular, Overwatch is the most popular video game. And it's incredibly difficult. There's so much of a learning curve that you can go from bronze to silver to gold to platinum to diamond to masters, then grandmasters, then top 500, then you can even be in a competitive professional league that they have. Now, I made it into diamond, which means that I'm a good player. Being in plat means that you're slightly above average, and I've been mostly in plat for the last couple of months, but I never quite made it into diamond. But for me, as a 36-year-old guy who picked up video games again in my early 30s after taking 10 years off, that means a lot to me. But the reason why is because I wanted to do this. I wanted to be as good as the kids, because if I could do that, if I could prove that I understood where they were, it would prove to myself that I was adaptable to new systems, that I was still able to learn the things that young people were doing. And it's much more than just, sitting there and kind of doing something. You have to learn entire team strategies and memorize maps, and it's so complicated, and you wouldn't know until you've actually played it. So I was able to do that, and I'm really happy that I have that philosophical urge in me of always trying to upgrade through the different information mechanisms. Like it used to just be that we could hear the written word, or just hear the written word. All we could hear was stories passed down. And then we developed writing, and then we could see writing. And then eventually we developed photography and music and motion photography and, books and blah, 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 blah. Books came in between. But I think that as an individual, it's good to be constantly updating yourself. And when it gets to the point that people are more likely to be interacting in video games, like in a virtual space where they're actually a non-passive viewer of this thing, they're actually interacting in the world that they are being entertained by, that is a new level of, artistic information conveying. You can convey a lot of information by allowing the person to discover that information for themselves. And it's something that I would like to work in as a creator at some point. I would like to be able to design video games to a certain degree at some point in my life, if I could. And I feel like I would be equipped to do it because I've gone from writing poetry to directing and acting in plays to writing scripts and then actually doing theater and then doing electronic music production and scoring and now directing some stuff for YouTube and, you know, creating my own videos that I edit myself. I've gone up this ladder of having a wide variety of skills, kind of like what Scott Adams talks about, the guy who created Dilbert. And I feel like a potential next step for me would be video game design. And I don't think that most people really have that. That's just seems to be the case. And also I know for a fact that most people can't get into the Diamond League in Overwatch. That's a hard thing to do. And I'm an old guy at 36, even though I don't sound like it. So I did that. I was all happy with myself. And then I briefly had an interaction with somebody on the internet, which reminded me precisely why I force myself to play and be good at video games and to understand youth culture, even if I feel like this is something that I don't entirely connect to. Now, granted, I do enjoy video games, but I did legitimately get to a point where I sort of wanted to quit at Overwatch, but I knew I had to get into Diamond just to say I was good enough to get into Diamond. And one of the reasons why is because I see these people getting out of touch and stuck in their ways. And I came into contact with one just today, and I'm not going to go over the conversation because I kind of tried and I decided to delete it all because it was boring audio. But long story short, I tried to communicate with this person who I thought that I respected, and it turned out that this person writes about things that they don't understand. I had read one thing that they had written in full, and it was good, but they were completely dismissive when it came to looking at some of my work, and I believe that I've gotten a lot more views than this person gets clicks. Not entirely sure, but I'm pretty positive. And they seemingly not a whole lot of people pay attention to this person, and I looked at one of the other articles that they have written, and it was basically entirely not just conjecture, which it was. There was like no citations or anything in this article, but they were wrong. Like the things that this person was saying was wrong. But it was hard because I was trying to get them to take a look at my video because I was hoping that they could maybe check my work a little bit. And they said, no, I'm more of a reader. I like text, which is something that I've gotten before numerous times. I've gotten so many instances of me trying to show people videos and them saying, I prefer to read things, thanks. Which, I don't know, to me that seems like being in the 1990s and coming into contact with somebody who would say, oh, I don't go on the internet. I only read real things, like the newspaper or books. I don't read blogs or email. That doesn't count. And it's like, yeah, it literally does. It literally is writing and stuff. And like the fact that you even have to have that conversation with people, that you have to convince them that a video on YouTube can actually be valid and worthwhile and maybe even be the best, most cutting edge, interesting material. It's like, okay, that person is obviously already not all that smart. Like there's no great way of saying that. That person can't be that intelligent. So there I am, forcing myself to be good at Overwatch and succeeding. I succeeded. I'm in Diamond. And then I go and I try to converse with the people in my who discuss the type of things that I discuss politically, and they just don't understand the current year at all. No, not everybody. Not everybody. But hey, if there's anybody who's simultaneously good at the culture war and also good at Overwatch and who understands both things, hey, please direct me to them because I'd like to play them at Overwatch, and I'd also like to look at their videos because I think that I have a pretty unique, divergent skill set in between my abilities to understand the political, cultural landscape of the real world, how it affects politics, how it affects the workplace, how it affects YouTube, how it affects blah, 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 blah. And then I can also play Overwatch really well. And that's all for this video. I'm so happy that I got into Diamond. See ya.